Okay, now we get into the other section. Your business is where we're going to talk about the strengths of your business and the weaknesses of your business. Strengths of your businesses, you probably have them recited by heart. When you talk about your strengths of your businesses on your business plan, here's what you want to answer. What are the key specific strengths that make your business successful? Is it location? Is it one-of-a-kind product? Is it a specific niche market? Is it something about how you cook the food? Is it something about how the fitness center is structured? What about it is unique and specific and a strength for you? Major past accomplishments, if it's an existing business, how your business differs from the competition and your competitive advantages. What have you been able to prove in the past how you beat the competition? For us, we have business strengths. Again, we're going back to the same thing, but more local lenders in the competition. And then we have some data. At the worst, we have lending data on 56% in one county of lenders, and at the best, we have lending data from 94% of lenders in another county. The Best Business Loans has the Best Business Loans in town has more area lenders providing data than any other competition. More local lenders equals better loan terms. Again, for the commercial lender and for the underwriter, I put the rationale. How come local banks can give you better pricing than national banks? Because there's definitely a lot more streams of income that they can make off of you, and so that way they can price the loan better. Additional cost, I put cheaper. The cost of seeing who the lenders are range from 150 to 300. The cost for lenders is zero. Local presence, we have a really good presence in the market area through the BA fund, so it's going to be a smooth transition. And faster, we're the fastest one of anyone out there. As soon as you put the information in and you hit the enter button, you're going to be able to see pricing from local lenders faster than anybody else. Weaknesses, this is something, as I mentioned before when we were chatting face-to-face, that you're going to really need to come up with real weaknesses. What makes your business weak? The lender's going to be thinking of it. The underwriter's going to be thinking of it. What's the weaknesses? When they present your loan request, when they put a discussion memo together, if they don't list weaknesses, they haven't done their job. So if you could give the lender weaknesses, if you could give them that, it's going to make his or her job a heck of a lot easier, especially since you've given them the weaknesses. You've also given them answers on how you're going to neutralize that weakness or how you're going to compensate for that weakness. So here's in a real-life example in a restaurant we did. They were buying a location that was in a restaurant was there previously and they failed. So here's another restaurant going in. If you're a commercial lender or underwriter, you're going to ask yourself, well, that one place failed. What do you thinks you're going to fail? And so we presented, we put it in there. You're buying the location of the failed restaurant, and we talked about it, and then we addressed it. And in fact, the next three, as far as examples, are 4 restaurants. So what we put down is and again, we listed it, if they couldn't succeed, why do you think you can? Possible answer from talking to members of the community, the restaurant failed because of whatever reason. Maybe because of management, because the food wasn't good, maybe because it was too expensive. And then you put this is not going to be a concern with us because fill in the blank. What are you doing right that they did wrong? In addition, previous concerns with the lack of adequate parking. In this particular scenario, they had 38 spaces. So again, we listed what a weakness was, and then we put how we're going to mitigate that weakness, how we're going to make up for it, and we put it will be mitigated with free valet parking and a newly constructed nearby public parking lot. So here for the lender, for the underwriter, this is heaven for them because we told them what a weakness would be. They may have known that already, or it was going in their head. So we explained it, and we explained how we're going to negate that. In this one, it was a restaurant's a risky business, and then possible answer for that, we are opening a very similar restaurant to our successful one. So in this scenario, they've had one before, and they sold it for a huge profit. This business will even be more successful because the anticipated clientele is more affluent in the new location. So here we addressed that restaurants are notoriously risky, but we answered it as, hey, I've done this before, I made money doing it, and in fact in this area we're going to have more people who are affluent, who will be able to come to the restaurant more often, so it's even going to be more successful. Another weakness for many of us is business is a startup, and possible answer for this client that we helped out with is it is a startup, but they are very experienced, they know the market, and they have a track record to prove we can make this work. For our own business, what we listed was competition against such well-funded competition. We listed that as a weakness. And then what we put is, with well-heeled competition, fighting for market share could pose a severe challenge if we were going national, but we're not, is we're going local in our local marketplace. And then we're the people who are going to have the feet on the street presence. There's none of these competition that have outside sales reps. Other thing as far as a weakness, and this is a big one in our area, is just educating the general public that this service is available and selling them the benefits. We don't think it's going to be a giant change. As long as we can get to them and explain it, we think we can give enough benefit statements out so they can easily understand it, and keeping the approval rating high as the company works out any unintended bugs. And then what we put is, we actually put this is going to be our greatest challenge, because we need great customer service. We need to make sure that the folks that we are helping out are more than happy to say that yes, they would recommend the service ratings to others. Okay, we're doing great, and now we're down to growth strategy. So we explained a lot about the company. We talked about who we are, where we came from, what is our strengths, what is our weaknesses, and now we're going to talk about how are we going to make this business grow. So you want to have growth strategies, listen into your business plan. So you want to list, what is your growth strategy? Or do you plan to grow super fast, moderate, just maintain the position? Either one's fine. You just need to justify why you think that strategy is going to happen. How are you going to present your product? How are you going to sell yourself? How do you promote to businesses or to customers in your area? Explain your pricing and distribution strategies. So you can see there's a lot here. How are you going to promote it? What's the outlook concerning your activity? What's impediments that might impact your success? Now here's a good one, a good example. And again, we're back into the restaurant. So here's a good example of as far as the business strategy. The other restaurants are located in Stuart, Fort Lauderdale, and Vero Beach, Florida. Each of these restaurants, started by Mrs. Barbecue, reached the break-even point within 6 months. Mrs. Barbecue is principal owner of the Best BBQ4 restaurant, which will have 12 employees and enable them to further grow their chain. So as you can see, there's a couple good things here. She's basically saying that they have successful in the past. And they listed how long it takes to break even, and they listed that this is the next one in the chain, that they're sort of following that same strategy. So this is a really good example. For us, here's what we put down for our growth strategy. In addition to word of mouth, press releases, and the chamber networking, internet marketing will be a major role in attracting new customers. And you can see this also matches up to our sources and uses earlier. And as far as another growth strategy, the best business loans in town, plans to use the network of CPAs, commercial realtors, and business advisors that we've built up. The best business loans in town, key benefits, and the best business loans in town will be a member of the Stewart Chambers, and we're going to be a member of the Realtor Commercial Alliance, which is an organization of commercial realtors in the area. And as success grows, we plan to expand throughout Florida. Okay, we're doing great, and now we are at one of the last sections that you're going to have in the business plan, and this is probably the most time-consuming part, and the part that for the brain is the hardest as well, because we're dealing with projections. So there's a lot of calculations we need to do as far as coming up with numbers and justify them. A couple of links here I have that you should check out. There's a great website called projectionhub.com who can help you with doing the projections. Also great is a SCORE financial worksheet that covers projections as well. Now when you do the projections, you need to calculate what your monthly loan expense is. So if you're not sure how to do that, you can go to bankrate.com. They have great financial calculators where in the beginning when we went over those sources and uses and you said how much you want for financing, that you can find out what that monthly payment is and that you can put that in as a monthly expense. With SBA loans, and you should probably do it for conventional financing if you want to go that route as well, is that you're going to need at least 3 years in projections, and 2 of them are going to want to be a month-to-month projection. Usually once you get 2 years where it's month-to-month, you can just do an annual one at that point. You don't need to go month-to-month after that. Before you start the projections, there's a lot of things that you are going to need to get together. You're going to need to, what goods are you selling? What is going to be the revenue per product you sell, and how many products are you going to sell per month? This is going to affect your revenue, so you want to make sure that you're putting that down on the business plan and that it makes sense. And what's going to be the cost of your product broken down into direct unit labor and material cost per unit. This way, as you're growing the revenue, you're growing your sales, those figures are increasing as well. Everything, like I said, everything makes sense to the lender. Services you're selling, what's going to be your charge per hour for your service, and how many hours per month will you be charging. What's going to be the cost of service broken down in direct labor cost per hour and material cost per hour. Again, everything needs to make sense, as if you're charging, if you have, say, plumbers working for you and they're charging so much per hour, your workers, but you're making more sales. As you're making more sales, that's going up your revenue, but also your cost is going up for that direct labor. So everything needs to jive. And then you want to put down, you want to address your projections. Like I mentioned before, where are these numbers coming from? What assumptions are you making? Have you talked to anybody who has businesses like this? What kind of costs do they have? And are your costs going to be similar? If they're not going to be similar, why are they not going to be similar? Or if they are, that's fine. You can put, I talked to 3 people who own plumbing companies, and this is what they normally, on average, this is what they have, and we think we're going to fall sort of in average. Actually, we think we'll be a little bit better, but again, as an abundance of caution, we'll use that phrase. We just assume that we're going to be as average as everybody else. And then what you're going to do is you're going to compare what these expenses are going to run per month. And here's the different categories you're going to want to prepare, especially when you go to projectionhub.com. If you're going to use that site, they're going to ask you to break this down. So all of these different categories you see here, you want to put them down as far as what they're going to be per month. And then on this as well, so now we have our projections, and we're going to go with the projections. Oh, and another thing with the projections I wanted to make you aware of is there's too many businesses when they do business plans that as soon as their break-even point, that they're making money as soon as the business is launched. It's actually a joke among underwriters that they haven't seen a business plan yet that loses money, which you don't want a business plan that loses money, but you do want a business plan, or you do want projections that show, hey, in the beginning, we're not going to be making a profit. Again, as an abundance of caution, we think it's going to be X amount of months, or maybe even a year until we hit that break-even point, because we are moving forward from the start date, but there's a lot of expenses, there's a lot of fields to plow before we see some crop grow. And so it's okay if you're not showing a profit on your projections in the beginning. In fact, it'll make more of an impression on your lender, especially if it's a business, say if it's like a physical, say if it's a fitness center, where it might take a while to get that membership up. So it's okay if you're not showing profits from the start. As long as you show that what you're doing makes sense and that it might be a little while before you hit the break even, that's good, okay? So now you got the projections done. You've done all that work. For brevity, we're just not going to put what our projections are. But like I said, you can go to the SCORE site and you can go to that Hub site, and then it will give you some great ways to do the projections. Once you get the projections done, then you can do a break-even analysis, and you're going to put that back into the business plan, where you can show through the projections where you project that you're going to hit the break-even point. And SCORE has a really nice break-even template. Here's the link to that, and I think I have it down here. Let me just show you real fast. So as you can see with the break-even, and a lot of these charts that you show, if you can make them easy for the lender to understand, this tells a lot of information, but it's also easy to read. And here's the break-even analysis. So here is when you fill this in, you put what the different costs are going to be. See, there's your cost, and then there's a section where you're going to put where your revenue is, and then it's going to compare your cost to your revenue, and then it's going to tell you where the break-even, how much you need to do in sales to get there. So please, again, here's the link is right up here to check it out. Once you got the projections done, once you got the break-even point done, you may want to put other appendices on appendix on your business plan. That could be perhaps resumes of the key players. It can talk about other businesses. If you have photos, photos are always great to put in there as well. But congratulations, for the most part, your business plan is done. Like I said, if it feels a little too skinny, feel free to add stuff about what the industry is. But if you can if you can prepare a business plan that looks like this, you are going to be in fantastic shape. If for some reason the loan does not get approved, it is not going to be because your business plan was not top notch. Good luck, and thanks for watching.